Hey Jude is one of the most covered songs in the world, and whether you're a Beatles fan or not, you probably listened and sang along to it at least once. Now, Paul McCartney shared an interesting revelation about one of the most popular Beatles songs that excited fans. The Beatles bassist has a podcast called McCartney, A Life in Lyrics, where he talks about his songwriting process and the meaning behind his lyrics. The latest episode focused on Hey Jude, and Paul McCartney opened up about how he was unsure about some of the lyrics and how he almost changed them completely. Luckily, he played the song to John Lennon, as it was usual for them, and the guitarist managed to convince him to keep the song as great as it was. Every Beatles fan, and every music fan really, will know the song Hey Jude. Despite not being part of any album, the song was a huge hit and became the longest song at the time to reach #1 on the charts. In the latest episode of his podcast, McCartney, A Life in Lyrics, Paul McCartney admitted that had it not been for John Lennon, he would have changed the lyrics to one of his most iconic songs. Apart from sharing how John Lennon stopped him from changing what would become one of his most famous songs, Paul McCartney also dived into the meaning behind Hey Jude. Paul began writing the song in his car on the way to visit Cynthia Lennon, John's ex-wife, and his son Julian. At the time, Lennon was leaving her for Yoko Ono, and he wanted to support them during that process. Paul was like an uncle to Julian Lennon, and the original name of the song was Hey Jules. The song was meant to be an encouragement because John Lennon was pulling away from his son to focus on Yoko Ono and wanted to let him know he was loved and he would get through it. As he continued writing the song, the story took a different turn, but the spirit remained the same, which is a song for a person who's going through a hard time. The narrator is assuring them that everything will be all right eventually. Paul McCartney also shared on the podcast that John Lennon interpreted the song differently and felt that Paul was singing it for him, encouraging him to be happy with the woman he fell in love with and believing in himself. Paul accepted that interpretation and concluded by saying that one thing he loves about songwriting is that once he puts a song out there, he lets it go, and everyone can interpret it however they want.